Yo, what's up, YouTube? This weekend is the Indianapolis Regional Championships, which will be the largest regionals probably in history. Some are saying we're going to have I don't know, 1,600 players, 1,600 masters. As of right now, I don't see that actually happening, but we are currently getting to some crazy numbers. So I decided to ask the age-old question of, if you were headed to a regional championships and this was the first regionals you were attending as a player, as a spectator, whatever, what one piece of advice would you give yourself? And I had some amazing responses given to me on Twitter and in my Discord. My Twitter is down below in the bio, as well as my Discord. You can join either of those communities by following me on Twitter or following me on Discord. And on Twitter, I usually update my round by round at tournaments, kind of what I'm up to. And then in my personal Discord, we have a wonderful community that talks about the game and kind of helps each other out, which is super awesome. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the tips that other people have offered and what I think about them a little bit, because my number one tip, I think, is to be confident in yourself and be confident in your deck, because I've seen time and time again players will change their deck last minute because they saw some last minute meta share video, or last minute they'll see something else, and the deck that they've been practicing for 2 months heading into their first big event, they will just throw it to the side because it's not good enough. And that's really bad to do, because 9 rounds is a really long day. So let's kind of jump into this advice and kind of see what we can gather from this. Well, I wanted to kind of show off the registration numbers right now. We're at 1,213 TCG players across all divisions for Indianapolis. So I think we'll probably have over 1,000 masters, which I don't know if it's enough to be podded. And for those of you at home who don't know what podded means, usually at the North American International Championships, because we exceed the number of 1,200 or 1,300, they usually split us up into 2 separate tournaments, like an orange flight and a blue flight, and we'll play the same 9 rounds of Swiss, and all the 6-2-1s will then merge into a day 2 big pool. But for all intents and purposes, for example, let's say I'm in pod blue and Azul is in pod orange, we would not have the chance to hit each other even if we were 8-0 until the second day. So crazy high numbers. We have 3 days till Indianapolis, so make sure you get your registration and everything done. But now let's kind of see what people left for you guys. So Zach the Snorlax said, make sure you bring a water bottle and make an effort to eat and snack when you can. It's a long day of Pokemon. While that's fun, your health is still super important. I 100% agree with this. A problem that a lot of players have is not eating enough, not drinking enough throughout the day, and feeling really, really awful towards the end of the day, feeling kind of like garbage, towards round 7 or 8 or 9. There is a designated lunch break that gets given out, but based on the organizer and based on how the day has been running, it could be anywhere from 20 minutes tacked on to the end of the round, or a full hour and a half. And if you get the full hour and a half, wonderful, you can go out, get a bite to eat, come back. But if it's 20 minutes tacked on to the end of the round, you probably won't have that much time to run out and get some food. So kind of keep that in mind when you head into the tournament. So I always bring an empty water bottle. I don't I bring this bad boy with me a lot of the time, and then I will have Cliff Bars or 1 bars or protein bars in my backpack at all times. And something that I like to do throughout the day is chew on gum, because it kind of kills my appetite, and the taste of mint kind of keeps me fresh. Yeah. So whatever snacks, whatever works for you, just obviously don't put stuff in your backpack that'll create a big mess. If you're a soda person, bring your soda. If you're an energy drink person like me, sometimes grab an energy drink. It is what it is. Nick says, wear deodorant, bring extra sleeves, re-sleeve your deck when the corners get beat up to avoid game losses. Wear deodorant, bring water snacks to tide you over. Wear deodorant. So Nick's message here is to wear deodorant. I always recommend showering in the morning before an event or the night before an event, and kind of just making sure you are clean, I guess. Make sure you take care of yourself, and it's going to be a long day and you got to be respectful of others. I always shower in the morning before an event, because that's just my good luck ritual kind of thing. So that's how I operate. Derek says, make time to eat, because even if it's a lunch break, there won't be. That's not true. I had mentioned earlier they're going to tack on a couple of minutes, but yeah. And then buy new sleeves for the event, as well as a backup set of sleeves. I do think that's an amazing thing to do. Bring 2 sets of sleeves for sure, and kind of keep the sleeves the same. Don't mix and match between packs. So if one pack, for example, let's say one sleeve is beat up and you're okay, let me open a new pack and put 1 sleeve in from that pack. There could be small factory differences that judges will catch, and that could cause a problem. So if you have to change 1 sleeve out and going to a new pack just toss the whole pack out, which sucks. Or put the pack aside for like practice at home or something because you don't want to throw them away. You spent like $10 probably on it. So yeah. Riley says, try not to let competitiveness blind you to the opportunity to make new friends and have positive experiences. It's really easy to get tilted after bad luck, but keeping an optimistic attitude can be the difference between winning and losing. I mean, they're absolutely correct. I think making friends is the biggest reason we go. A lot of friends I've made at the table, after the table, like talking, catching up in between rounds. If you played against somebody throughout the day, it's always nice to walk up and just be like, hey man, like how did your round how did your round 5 go? Like we just played, blah blah blah. How did it go? I'm sure like sometimes I take a really bad loss and it really sucks to talk about. So you don't have to always like be like friends with your opponent at the end of the day, but just be civil, like be nice enough to where like it's like a cordial conversation. And at the end of the day, whoever you played against like leaves with a pleasant enough experience, win or lose, that like they feel that they can go into the next round. I always try to make it an active point to talk during some of my games and like be friendly if I can. Sometimes that does change when the pressure is really high. And if I'm feeling it as well, I won't be as talkative or chatting, but I will always like ask like where they're from, how you're doing, how your day's been, that kind of stuff. So Taylor says, keep extra careful of track of the game state. I've had so many opponents lose track of things like ability used, effects like ability, yada yada. And so, I mean, yes, I do agree that I think it's both players' responsibility to kind of keep things in mind. So like when you use a Genesect, for example, you can tap it to indicate that the ability's been used, stuff like that. Or by like markers that say like ability used or something like that. Stuff like that, just easy. Chris says, submit your list the night before, saves you time on Saturday morning and prevents any added stress. Yeah, when you go to bed on Friday night, always have a 60 card list submitted. Regardless if you think you're going to make changes on Saturday morning before the event, submit a 60 card list. Whatever you have sleeved up, whatever you have ready to go, submit that 60 cards when you go to bed. So if you wake up and say you give yourself half an hour to make some changes, then you have, and like say something doesn't work. Let's say the submission doesn't work for some reason, the internet doesn't work for some reason, your phone dies, something crazy happens, you have a 60 card list submitted, you are allowed to play in the tournament. If you don't submit a list, you'll be dropped from the tournament. You don't want that to happen. So make sure you submit something on Friday night before you go to bed. Some people, like I know, submit something before they go to check-in, so they have a backup always. Connor says, don't forget to relax and have fun and make friends with people. Chat to your opponents. The real highlight of these events is the community. I love Connor. He's an amazing human being, and he's absolutely correct. I think Connor and I became friends just by chatting online, and like this at European Internationals, we like talked a bunch and hung out, and it's the same with everybody. Like it's like you make these friends who you just want to see event to event, and the community is not going anywhere. So making friends is the most important thing. Bring socks. I know there's a story here. I need to know the story. That's all. What to expect for someone who hasn't been to regionals, super new to Pokemon TCG, and it's my first event. Yeah, sure. So 9 rounds, best of 1, or best of 3 Swiss rounds. You're going to come in Friday. Whatever time you come in, there's a check-in window. And so you want to go do your COVID check-in and stuff if you can on Friday. If possible, get that out of the way, get your wristband, and that'll give you access to the venue. On Friday, there's usually side events. Vendors are open, but like a limited number of vendors and like a limited number of side events will be going on Friday because it's more of like a setup / like some people are still kind of getting in day. So you get that whole opportunity to do all that on Friday if you want to. Saturday is game day. So there'll be almost exclusively like players playing in the main event, but past like round 3 or 4, people will start dropping from the main event. So sides will be running 8-man pods, all that stuff. You can always find more information about side events and all that stuff on the main organizer's website. I know they've been adding a bunch of new stuff like gym leader format, gym leader challenge, sorry. So you can try all that like new fun stuff out as you go. And then Sunday will be day 2 for those who advance at a 6-2-1 record or 19 match points from the first day to the second, or if you're in juniors and seniors, top 8. Realistically, because I don't think they have enough ever to have a day 2. And so there'll be a lot of sides running that day. People will be watching Top Cut, all that kind of good stuff. And then whenever the venue is, like whenever finals is done, is usually when they'll start ushering people out of the venue, kind of shutting the party down. Maybe like 5-6 p.m. is like a good indicator of like when the whole show starts getting shut down a little bit. And then people will start making their way home, catching their flights, whatever. So it's a long day. Expect to play a lot of Pokemon on all the days, and there's a lot of fun to be had and stuff to do, especially in Indianapolis, which is a very big... we used to have nationals here. We used to have U.S. nationals here, so it's a nostalgic place for me for sure. It's better to play something that wins or loses quickly. It gives you more of a rest and relaxation between rounds. Yeah, Chris is right. I mean, I mean, obviously, don't limit your deck choice like from like control deck to something turbo because Chris said something here. But like, if you do finish something that wins or loses quickly, you have more of an less of a like stressful day across the day. But I mean, I've done both. I've played decks that win or lose in 10 minutes, and then I've played decks that take the full 50 minutes. One is more draining, obviously, but I would always play to your strengths. Drink water in between rounds, absolutely, 100%, 100%, 100%. Cannot agree more, Ace Trainer. Don't dwell on the loss you just had. Yeah, exactly. Like you have a whole day of tournaments to play, so you don't want to like dwell on the losses you took right then and there. Yeah. Go to bed early. I would say yes. Get plenty of rest. I'm someone who is very like anxious and stressed before a tournament, so I usually typically get like 4 hours maybe of sleep a night before a tournament, which is not good. Don't do what I do, kids. So don't drop because you won't make day two. It depends. Like Emily and Classy said here, if you are having a bad day and you're not having fun anymore, like it's fine to drop from the tournament. But if you're enjoying yourself, please keep playing by all accounts, even if you're out of the tournament. I've had both kinds of things that I've done throughout the day. So yeah. Holloman optimal snacks. I don't like to bring anything that has crumbs. I do the protein bars because protein are like Cliff bars because they're easy. I can just eat them in one go and throw like the wrapper away, and they're kind of filling enough. And then I said gum earlier. So relax, have fun, don't get tilted when you get bad breaks. Everyone in the room is going to have at least one bad break. Exactly. I mean, yeah, Ben's right. Just we've talked about this much. This is what I want to talk about as well. Andrew Wambolt talks about don't ID round 9 at regional this large, but that does depend on your goals. I think if you're trying to win the tournament, IDing at 6-2 to go to 6-2-1 puts you in a pool of, I don't know, like 80 players that all need to win 4 of their 5 games on the second day. Being able to snatch those match points early on day 1 gives you a much better shot at winning the tournament because you're already one leg up on everybody else. But if your goal is something like top 64 for a Worlds invite or top 128 for a Worlds invite, IDing is super okay. Or if you're like, completely gassed or you have a bad matchup, IDing is also super okay. I'm always under the philosophy that if you're not in day 2, you can't win the event. But going in at 19 match points does feel really rough to win the event. Because we've seen multiple instances of people at 19 make it to top cut, but it's very hard. Stefan's advice is one of the best I've seen. Don't be afraid to scoop a game that you have more time for the series, and don't freak out if you get paired against a well-known player. Both these things hold incredibly true. Just, if you think you're going to lose that game, don't stick it out for too long. Scoop it up, go to the next one, because you do need to play 3 full games to win it. Like if you're going to lose game 1, play out 2 and 3 so you can win the set. Or if you've already won game 1 and you're losing game 2, but it's like doomed, you can scoop it up and go next. And I've seen so many people freak out against top-level opponents, including myself. Like people get very nervous, and I know that's hard because even I get that against like Tord or something. Just to have fun. We're all humans too. So Dalton that's what kind of watches people could wear. So basically anything with a face, like a digital face, you should not be able to wear, I think. It's in the rule book more so, and this is kind of like off the top of my head, I think. But anything with a digital face you're not supposed to be able to wear. With like a regular just like clock-ish thing you wear. I remember I wore this like Dora the Explorer clock for a long time that I bought at a store the night before. And basically you can just like, you can't set like a timer, you can't set any of that on your watch. You can like make mental note of like the time, and I think you can write it down in your notes. Don't quote me on that. But besides that, that's pretty much like all you can do with the watch. How long might check-in take for those of us entering Saturday? In Salt Lake, it was not very long. So I think depending on how much staff they have, and I assume AJ and company have a ton of staff for this event. It looks like the whole party is coming out, so I'm very excited to see that. But I think check-in will take probably like I would allocate 15 to 20 extra minutes to get there. I'll probably like leave. I think I have to look at exactly when we're going in, but I'll probably leave like 15 minutes earlier than I plan in the morning to just make sure I get through check-in and get into the venue, because then I'll have some peace of mind. Also Goof is absolutely correct here. Know the venue rules and pre-scout some food ahead of time. So like if you're in the area on Friday evening, know where you might want to hit up for lunch, know where you might want to go. If your hotel is connected, maybe you have a contingency plan. For Indianapolis, for example, if you finish your round early, there is a skywalk that leads you to the mall that has a food court. It's about like a 5 to 10 minute walk. So you can run to the food court really quickly, get something like Taco Bell, run back really quickly. Like that's plenty of time if you finish your round quick. If you have like an hour lunch break, for example, you can make that easy. You can make that easy. Just not a lot of time to sit down and eat. You can just scarf something down and head back. So pre-scout the area a little bit. Obviously, don't go to like a sit-down like family restaurant like a TGI Fridays for lunch break because you're probably not making it back in time. But yeah, usually how long does it take you to get a turn in the restroom? If you got to take a number 2, you're probably not going to have a good time. If you got to just pee, you're probably fine, is how I put it. But for Indianapolis specifically, there's a lot of hotels connected. So if your hotel is not too far away, you could probably make a mad dash to your hotel in between rounds. My hotel is connected directly by Skywalk. I'm at the Hyatt Regency, so it should be like very quick for me to get in and out. And I know that if I need to do something, I can run back to my hotel. But with that all being said, guys, thank you for everyone who participated in this. Thank you for everyone who contributed and made this video awesome with your comments on Twitter, Discord, whatever. I will be competing in Indianapolis, and I know people are going to Bilbao and Joinville this weekend, respectively. So please, everyone who's going out to your first regional championships, good luck, have fun, and may the cards fall in your favor, trainers.